All right, before we get into the mother of all rants, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. We're going to just get into this right now. So I was not able to watch the game because I was working today, but I read the box score and just got a sort of a sense of it. Watching some clips and listening to some of the interviews after the game on the radio. When you don't get starting pitching, folks, you're not going to win. It's as simple as that. The fact that they're giving up runs like crazy in the first inning, it puts you behind right away. It's such a drag on your team. And the fact that this team not only does that, but they're not scoring runs in the first inning. Last year they were so good at scoring runs in the first inning, and they've stopped doing that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. None of what is going on makes any sense based on their performance last year. It's the same group of guys that they had last year offensively. Now, September, they had a really offensively, just overall, a lousy finish. And that is carried on to this new season. And to be honest with you, when you get shut out 7 times, what was it, 7 times? In the first, almost 40 games, changes are needed, to be honest with you. When you're doing this kind of stuff, changes are needed. And the thing is that I was saying over the last few days that they needed to make a change in the lineup, which they've done. But I think they need to do more. I'm starting to wonder if Starlin Marte has anything left. Because that bat looks awfully slow to me, just as an observer. He's constantly getting beat on a fastball. When he swings the balls away, he cannot touch it. He tends to hit the ball up in the air, and he seems like he's beaten. Just in terms of morally beaten. Hits the ball on the ground, and he's not hustling. And like I said, is he finished? Is that bat gone? Because it doesn't seem like that bat speed is there at all. And if he's hurt, why isn't he put on the injured list? Why is he playing? That's the first sort of observation. I don't know how much longer you can count on him. Just based off of the way he has played, his OPS is a little over 500. It's pathetic. 700, in my view, is about average, about what you want a player to be. But if it's under that, that's a real red line. That's a real red area that you're in. And then to be 500, to be that low, how bad can you be? And this guy's been an all-star. He was great last year when he played. You could not never had any complaints. I never had any complaint. He was one of my favorite Mets to watch last year because he made everything look so easy and fluid, and either his bat is shot or he's really hurt bad. And the Mets are just sort of rolling him out there because maybe they feel like they don't have an option. That's the first observation. Another observation: you can't be batting 6. I think you're gonna have to start lowering him down the lineup. I would mention I would not have a problem with him batting 9th because you can kind of, without the pitcher here anymore in the National League, the DH sort of creates a situation. You can have like a double leadoff hitter. So the fact that he's not hitting like he had been, maybe you consider batting him 9th in this lineup and not play him as much. Just due to the fact that production is just non-existent. Again, Daniel Vogelback. I know his OPS is good. I know he's getting on base, but he's got to provide power. This is a guy who's hit 30 home runs in a season. Where is the power? Where is it? Somebody explain that to me. Where is it? He had 2 hits Tuesday in the game that Verlander started, but they were singles. Yeah, and he's walking. He's taking 3-2 pitches to go with the 3-2 on his back. But the guy cannot hit the ball out of the ballpark. And it drives me crazy. The guy takes pitches right down the middle of the plate. That's a pitch to hammer. And he takes it. Or was that quite close? And, and I mentioned how, how he's not a winning player. And I said he's a losing player. And I use the term loser. And people will tell me he's one of the Mets' best hitters. If Daniel Vogelbach is one of the Mets' best hitters, they are in deep trouble. They're in deep doo-doo. Caca. I mean, in big trouble. If you got this guy who's in the middle of your lineup and he's not providing any power, two home runs, pathetic. 2 home runs, that's pathetic. That's not what you want. And when you have somebody like that, and he provides nothing, and then he doesn't run, I almost had like a heart attack when I saw him going first to third on Tuesday night, or Wednesday night or whatever it was. I was like grabbing my chest, It's like, holy shit, don't run. What the hell are you doing? Unless that outfielder falls down, don't you be going to third. Don't you be doing that. Don't you do that. That's a no-no. And Mark Hanna. Mark Hanna looks terrible. He had a bad September last year. Mark Hanna had a great August last year, but he has looked terrible since then. Now I know he's had 3 home runs, and he's not really a guy that you expect certain things from. But the production is just not there. It's not, in my view, what the Mets need. Mets need more than what they're getting out of this lineup. Okay? The pitching. Starting pitching. Again, Kodai Senga, now I know that he only walked 1 batter in 5 innings. But from what I read, he threw 30 pitches in the first inning. That means he can't find the strike zone. That means he's having a difficult time throwing that forkball over for a strike. And all the batters have recognized the fact that they don't have to swing. They know that pitch is not going to be a strike. So he's got to get that pitch over for a strike. And if that pitch is going for a ball, they know not to swing at it. They can recognize it early on. He has a lot of talent. Throws very hard, but he's got to start throwing strikes. This team is not going to be able to win his starts. Okay, and Verlander, I would mention, he looked great Wednesday night. He looked awesome. He's throwing 97 miles an hour. He looked great on Wednesday. Get the days straight. He settled in. He was terrific. He was awesome. And then they follow up with this dud in the first inning. You put the Mets behind the first inning. What was it, 4-0? They didn't even get a chance to get up a second time. They were down 4-0. I just don't get this team, And you get the, and here's the thing about teams that go through these kinds of stretches. It makes it seem like, they don't care. You get defeated. When you go through these stretches, these teams will feel like they're defeated. And you see how defeated this group looks. Because then there's no fighting, moving on, after that first inning. That is not a good sign. But, like I said, I'm not ready to blame the manager yet because they won 101 games. I was thinking about this. I don't know what you think if you're watching this video. Maybe this team had its shot to win last year, and this group now cannot carry on. As you know, last year, like this year, they were an older team. They were a team that had an older everyday lineup. And you notice that the team is starting to get a little younger with the lineup. They were an older team. They had older pitching. And maybe now they had their shot. The Mets had their shot to win the World Series last year. And this group did not succeed. And maybe the Mets did not recognize that. And then maybe they need to make more significant changes aside from moving pieces around. Now, I would mention a couple of things. One, the pitching staff that isn't here. that were healed last year. Jacob deGrom is hurt. I understand he's going to be out another 2 to 3 weeks for the Rangers. Chris Bassett has pitched terribly for the Blue Jays. Ty Walker has pitched terribly for the Phillies. And the Phillies got off the slow start too. So the pitching staff, in conjunction with the guys they brought in, Quintana's not coming back he's not going to be here until the middle of the season. Scherzer, who I'm starting to think that was a complete total waste of money at this point. And I know why. His neck hurts, by the way. His neck hurts from jerking it back from those balls going and getting hit out of the ballpark. And I'm tired of his excuses. I saw Scherzer yesterday. We also saw Scherzer yesterday. That guy was throwing hard. And he's older than him. That's a guy who was in full control of everything he was throwing. So, and I would mention this, and maybe it's not a good comparison, but there comes a point in a pitcher's career where he has to adjust to the kind of pitcher he is and not the pitcher he was. Tom Seaver, as you know, is the greatest pitcher in Mets history. He threw very hard in the beginning of his career, but at the end of his career, he was able to adjust over the course of a couple of years to become a controlled pitcher and a guy that was able to get outs. Maybe that's the problem with Scherzer. Maybe he's not capable of adjusting to that fact that he's not throwing nearly as hard. And the problem with baseball today, and I think you all will agree, is that we see very few pitchers in the game. We see guys that throw very hard. And maybe it comes to a point, especially when an older pitcher, that they've got to readjust how they go about their business facing these batters and these hitters. It's just a suggestion, But I'm very concerned by him because this is a guy that came in with this big parade. I cheered it, and he pitched great for the first few months of last year. But since September and those games that he pitched against the Braves and the Padres, and now this year, he's been one of the worst pitchers in the game. And I'll probably have a video on him at some point, complaining about him in more detail, because I'll have the numbers. I'm just doing it off the top of my head, but this team has a couple of issues. And like I said, they've been shut out 7 times since the start of the season. They only shut out 8 times all of last year. That is a big problem. So they're going to have to find offense on this team. The easiest things to do, the next move they need to make is bring up Vientos. Now, people are going to say, well, the Mets have too many rookies in their lineup. And they're not going to be productive. Well, they're not productive anyway. They're not productive anyway with these guys. So why even bother at this point? Why even bother at this point getting yourself all worked up about a team that's not hitting anyway? So call these guys up. Beltran's watching them. He'll tell them if they can perform. If Vientos can hit, he's going to hit. If Mauricio can hit, he's going to hit. These guys, these old guys, they probably can't hit anymore. And I mentioned this, and I like the guy. I like Eduardo Escobar. But you might be getting to a point where they might need to release him. Just due to the fact he's not going to play. He's not going to play third now. Beatty's playing third. He's not going anywhere. So you might have to release him. So if you're going to release him, get him out of here. He's taking up a spot on this roster. Mets don't need his 130 batting average. Get him out of here. Am I right? And then you have guys like Vogelback. He can't run. He can't field, and he's not providing any power. Get him out of here. Change this thing up because this is not working. And the thing about the starting pitching and the pitching in general, they can't do nothing about it. But the offense they can do stuff with. Gives you a fighting chance. If you can score runs, you have a fighter's chance to win a game. If you're not scoring runs and you're not pitching, well, at least you got a chance late in the game. And the Met bullpen's been good. So maybe late in the game, maybe you're in a game that's a 7-6, like on Monday, they lost 7-6. But if they didn't have such black holes like Luis Guillorme, and Mark Hannon screwing up the late part of this game, maybe in that spot, maybe one spot you have Vientos up there instead of Canna, maybe gets a hit, maybe it's a home run. hits the ball out of the ballpark, grand slam. Well, the next day, instead of Guillorme, you got Ronnie Mauricio with the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. These guys can't hit anymore. Or don't hit a lot and don't have any slug. You know. I mean that's the issue. At least the offense. Now the pitching, the Mets are just gonna have to wait. They're gonna have to wait for guys to come back. Right now. Because there's nobody in the trade market. And I'm gonna tell you, I was thinking about this tonight. Don't be surprised if the Mets call up Gary Sanchez in the next week or so. And the reason I bring that up is the fact that they recalled Michael Perez to play for to be on the roster for the hell's his name, Tomas Nido. Freaking Michael Perez for Tomas Nido. He's got a dry eye. Don't be surprised if Sanchez is here because they need offense, and this guy does have power. I am not a big fan of his at all, but don't be surprised if next week he gets called up. Because Michael Perez was not on the 40-man roster. They had to bring him on. So they could kick him off pretty quickly. So that's a very good possibility. And he's done okay the first 2 games down in Syracuse. So just keep that in mind. I am not a fan of that. But the Mets might not have much of a choice just to get some kind of power in here. But then they don't have any power other than Pete. And I feel bad for Pete because he's trying hard and they're just not hitting. And these pitchers are just pitching around them. Let me know what you think about this video. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. I'll probably be ranting about Max Scherzer tomorrow or the next day. But I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you later.